Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the screens of the virtual assistants you hire or want to become? The late nights, the impossible clients, the breakthroughs nobody saw coming, the moments that changed everything. I'm Loyes Mundo, your VA mentor, and this is the Untold VA Stories. Every episode, we go behind the screen and share the stories that never make it into the highlight reels. Real VAs, real stories, the ones nobody talks about. Welcome back to the Untold VA Stories, the show where we pull back the curtain on what virtual support actually looks like, told through the people who lived it. I'm Loy, and today's guest is someone who'll tell you upfront she's not tech person, she's not a social media person either, and yet she's built a thriving practice online, helping people work through trauma and narcissistic abuse recovery using RTT and hypnotherapy. My guest today is Jayne Robinson, founder of Jayne Robinson RTT and Hypnotherapy. Jayne's story is a great one for anyone who's ever felt like tech or doing it all yourself is the only way to grow a business. Because her turning point came from finally letting go and bringing in the right person. We're going to talk about what her business looked like before that shift, what changed once she had some help, and what she'd tell someone who's exactly where she used to be. Let's get into it, and here's Jayne. Hi, Jayne. Thank you again for being my podcast guest for this episode. I would just like to throw in my first question with you. So, Jayne, welcome again to the show. And for anyone meeting you for the first time here on my podcast show, who is Jayne Robinson and what do you do?
Thank you, Lori, and thank you for having me. So I came out of a 15-year narcissistic marriage, and it's just right at the start of COVID. Isolation, really finding it difficult to get help. I decided that the best way for me to do that was to actually learn a technique. I've done lots of alternative therapy in the past,
Mhm.
but this time I really wanted to focus on how I was going to help myself to start my life again, right? I did other transformational therapy, hypnotherapy. I also did narcissistic abuse recovery specialist course and several other courses in that, which also included brain spotting. So I had a few years of studying and learning, and I felt that was really something I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to help other people who were probably going through anything that I had been through. And later in life, it's a little bit more difficult to sort of find your way because, you're so set in your ways and you think that your life should be very different. And all of a sudden, everything turns upside down. So that's what I do. And I help people with all different sorts of things, but
Mhm.
narcissistic recovery is one of my specialties. And I use the rapid transformational therapy plus all the tools that we use in trauma informed, recovery and the trauma informed specialist. And then with the brain spotting, so I can sort of use lots of different tools depending on the person, and where they're at. And, and that's the thing, being able to meet them where they're at. So that's my passion.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I guess I'll have a quick icebreaker here. So, is there a go name pronunciation or like a fan fact you want listeners to know about you before we really dive in into the questions for this episode?
I guess a fun fact is that I have a big connection with animals, always have had, even since a young child. And even prior to going through this trauma, I've always connected with animals, and I've had the opportunity a few years ago to spend some time with an animal psychic who could actually speak with animal spirits. He would see them and they would give messages and stuff. It was just fascinating. So I learned a lot through him. So that also propelled me to create my own Australian animal oracle cards. And so I incorporate them often with my clients. Something to sort of reach out to, they're there with the message when I'm not, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a great thing. So that is just another experience that I've had. And but I'm always someone that if I see an animal, an insect, a bird or something, I'm always going, what's that message? Is that for me? Is that for someone else? But I've seen it, so I know that that message is there for me. So it's a great way to stay grounded and in the tune with what's going on within us, also what's going on around us.
That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And
Please
I
help.
guess my next question for you, Jane, is you've described yourself as someone who isn't techy or not tech savvy before, right? And I remember you did say to me also that you kind of hate social media as well.
I
So
do.
yet you've built a thriving online practice. So I would like to ask, take us back what your business looks like or looked like before you had that support. And what was the tipping point for you?
Okay. I've met a few people through my learning process, through the therapy learning and I don't know what you call it, getting our qualifications and the client that you had was she had said to me about you.
Mm,
So I said, oh, okay. Because I said, oh, I'm just finding it so frustrating. She says, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. And I'm going, because I just don't have the time. I'm trying to build my business. I live on my own. I'm on my own. I am having to bring in an income and whatever, but I don't have more than, the hours in the day that allow you to work efficiently. And she goes, oh, so you need to do, and so she sort of goes through and she said, so she introduced me to you. And I said, oh, that's what I need. I just need someone who can just take away all the stuff that does my head in. And because I can't focus on doing what I want to do because the business is requiring me to do all this extraneous work that isn't my thing. It's not, but, it's important and imperative to having a
mm,
successful business. So that was my tipping point. She said, you've got to contact Lloyd. So I did. And that was the start of journey that, that we've had together. And it's just been amazing. And in saying that, I've learned a lot from me and the VAs that, we've worked with. I've learned more, but it's sort of taken the pressure off, but it's also allowed me to learn what I know that I need to learn and allowed me to just go, you know what, I don't need that. I don't need to know how to do that. That's my VA's job or
yeah.
whatever. And, that's been amazing. But having said all of that, it's been the support that I've received from you and the VA that have given me the confidence to just be able to go, okay, well, they know what they're doing. That's to let that happen and me not having to be worried about it because, and I think I've said to you on several occasions, it's always a bit more difficult when you don't have a partner or you don't have someone. The only person that you're having conversations or bouncing things off is yourself, really. And so, it makes it a lot more of a more difficult journey when you're doing it by yourself. So to have the support that I've had from yourself and the girls have just been amazing. So
Mm.
and as I say, I've learned what I needed to learn and wanted to learn, and then I've learned to not learn what I don't want to learn.
That's so nice. That's so nice. So you mentioned Ross, your friend, right? Who introduced us and you, particularly in the world of virtual support. So back then, what did that conversation look like, and what made you decide to really, have a go and actually try it out?
Oh, look, I think that she had told me how it was working for her and how she'd been able to let go of so many things. And I thought, this sounds too good to be true. And I think that I just felt that I needed that support and I needed to be able to trust somebody. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, that's the thing. So when you've got someone that you know that is doing similar work to you, that's found that support and that help that is
Yeah.
needed, There's nothing better than word of mouth, right? Because that automatically installs the trust in that other person. So that was the thing for me, that she tried, she'd been with you, and you were solving a lot of her business problems, or for her expansion. And I thought, okay, well, that's what I need to do as well. And so I guess that was the thing, just knowing someone that I know, that recommendation is a big thing. It's a big
Mm-mm.
thing.
Mm-mm. That's very helpful. And I think for most virtual assistant, they really need to hear this out, because for us, it's kind of difficult to really know when we should, how big a support we are able to provide our clients. And I guess some VAs kind of undervalue themselves. So
Yes,
yeah, so much for sharing those words to us. And I guess my next question for you is, once you brought in, okay, that virtual support, what changed first? What were the changes, the first changes? And if you could walk us through launching your courses on Kajabi, with that help.
yeah. I think the thing is, I think the first, if there's an emotion or something, I could say it was relief. And that relief just came from just knowing that I had someone there to do the stuff that I didn't know how to do, or it was going to take up so much of my time to actually learn it. So this is the thing, you go off and you become a therapist, and you learn your work, your skills, your strategies, and all that how you're going to work with people. And they come in with, I know, this is how you're going to do your business, and this is how you're going to do that. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, that's doing well and good, but where do I get the time to learn that stuff? I'm not a business person. I'm not, I'm here to do, I'm doing this because this is what I want to do. I want
Mm-hmm.
to do all that other stuff. I need, it's a bit like, I suppose I've got to get a tax accountant, right? Because then I want to be doing the tax. So that was the thing for me, and it was just that relief of like, okay, so I could then, I was then able to actually focus more on how I wanted my business to look and how I wanted it to go, how I wanted people to see me and what I do and how it can help them. And when you're trying to do it all yourself, you actually lose why you're doing what you love. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just
Mm-hmm.
too much pressure. So that was the thing for me, that I could take that, oh, this is what I'd really like to do and whatever. And there's a trillion courses out there, isn't there, on the internet, and I've signed up for millions of courses, how to upscale your business and do that. But at the end of the day, it's all, in my opinion, a big marketing plan. They're telling you how successful their clients are, and you're going to dish out more money. But the point
Yeah.
is that, you've still got to learn, and you've still got to do it yourself. And as I
Mm-hmm.
say, if you don't have the time to do that, because really what you want to do is to spend that time with your clients, on your clients. And I mean, and I work probably quite differently to a lot of other therapists. In as much as I give my clients a lot of time, I give them actually as much time as they need in the session. Because for me, I'm a believer that when you've got that connection and something's shifting, moving, lifting, whatever is happening, you let it happen. You don't go, oh, I'm sorry, time's up. I have to come back next week. That's not how I operate, because that's not how I want to be
Mm-hmm.
treated either. I want someone to be there for me, and if I need them there for half an hour, they're there. If I need them there for 2 hours, 3 hours, I want that as well, right? So
Yeah.
that's how I work. So I don't have a lot of time. Then I guess I really don't have the interest into knowing how to do anything. I mean, just for instance, the stuff that's being done in Canva and whatever. So I'm sort of learning how that works, but I don't have the time to go and learn how to become a designer on Canva. You guys have got that all down pat. So here you go. This is what I want. What I want the end product
Yeah.
to look like. let's see what we can come up with. And then, you'd come back with, what about this and what about that? And, oh, okay, can we just translate a bit? Yep, done.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
take this.
True, true. I would like to highlight that part. I guess for most clients, especially who have hired virtual assistant, we virtual assistants are like your co-captain, but
Yeah,
still you are, as the business owner, you are the captain of your own ship and your own aircraft whatsoever. But that's very important to highlight because I have
mm,
had unfortunately experience some clients before that they would just let me do that thing, and I kind of have a difficulty driving their business because I guess it's not my business and I was just supporting them. So
yeah,
virtual assistants are there to support the business owners, but the business owners should really still be hands on, especially if they're a solopreneur or like a startup business. They should
yeah,
still be hands on their business because basically that's your baby, that's the one that you are, that's the
yeah,
one that you're really trying to grow. And
mm,
just this time the difference is you have a support, you have that VA or the virtual support.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And
That's a good,
mm,
yeah, that's something that I would really also like to highlight. And as a VA and a client, that collaboration moments is very crucial as well. So you have had that moments as well where you collaborate with your VA, you tell
yeah,
them what you wanted to do for your Instagram reels or your ebook would look like and stuff like
yeah,
that. So that's also important.
yeah,
The mere fact that you are um kind of clarifying those things, collaborating those ideas with your VA, that's actually very helpful in a client and VE relationship. So
yeah,
thank you for
yeah,
sharing that. And I would just like to highlight that part because, like I said, not everyone is aware of how the client and VA relationship should be working. And to be at least successful at that, having collaboration and having that sense that you are still the captain of your ship as the business owner, that kind of help everyone, especially the
yeah,
VA as well, in supporting you all throughout.
yeah,
Jane,
yeah.
my
For
next
me,
question. Yeah, yes, go ahead, Jane.
what I was going to say was that for me, I think that when a client comes to me, mm, this is where they're at, this is where they want to be. Okay?
Mm,
I'm the one that helps them get there. So when I come to the VA, I go, okay, this is what I do, and this is how I want to get there. You're the expert of that, not me. I do
mm,
the other side of
mm,
it. So that's the thing. You're still involved, but you know the outcome that you want. You know that end result.
yeah,
Whether it's an
mm,
Instagram link or it's a course or whatever that may be, I'm able to go, okay, so I can have that vision in my mind of what I would like, but I don't have the wherewithal, the the tech, all of that sort of stuff, all the time to actually work out how I'm going to get from there to there.
yes,
And this is the important thing, and I think that it's the real message that this is where the VA becomes so important because you're able to um, offset the things that you can't do or you don't want to do so that you can focus on things that you do, that,
you could,
that
yeah,
are,
mm,
and that are your skill. And the more you fight with it, trying to do that, I found that I was getting tired and then thinking, oh, this is all too hard because you lose that connection, you lose that vision of why you're doing what you're doing because you're getting bogged down and stuff. It isn't for you. And that's the whole idea. And
yes,
the support that I've had, and as I say, in all of that, you learn a lot. You learn a lot. And it doesn't mean that you might learn a few skills and whatever, but you understand the process. You understand why you guys do what you do in a certain format, whereas I might think, oh, why would you do that? Whatever. But then I understand why you do that. That makes
mhm,
sense. And I
mm,
think, well, far be it to me to question how you do things, but that end result is
yes. I
is
agree.
what you're wanting. Yeah, that outcome that you want. So and that's what I sort of think. I think, well, here I am, my client comes in, they want a specific outcomes. I've got the skills, the strategies, the tools, yeah, that to get them there. For
Yeah.
me, I come to you and I go, this is where I'm at, this is what
Mm.
I want. We talk,
Do your magic. Yeah.
and whatever. But you're the guys with the skills to do that.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
really that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I agree. I agree. And now looking back, Jane, what's that one task or maybe a fear you were holding on to that now you wish you have handed it off sooner?
Yeah. I, I think looking at it's probably a lot of reasons why, because I think that you get to a point where I would say, and especially being on your own and no one else around you to sort of bounce things off and get ideas, hard to let go when this becomes your passion project, so to speak. It's very difficult to sort of hand stuff over because you don't know whether people are really going to understand where you're coming from.
Mm.
And I guess that's been one of the beauties of working with you and your team, that everyone's very compassionate, they're hardworking and whatever, but there's there's more of a connection. There's a connection with, you've got that empathy and that understanding of what I'm doing. So I can ask you to do something for me, and I know that it's going to come from your heart because
Mm.
that's what I need, right? Now, someone else might take on a VA for a very, very different thing, and it's stuff very mathematical, very all about figures or strategies and whatever. So then that right person will be able to fit in with that, still keeping the customer happy and um, doing the tasks at hand. But what I found with you guys, that's probably been the thing. And I sort of think, oh, I wish I probably handled it earlier and not wasted so much time and money on useless information that really didn't, you know, give me the outcome or the confidence or the strategies that I felt I needed and I thought that I was going to get, but I didn't get it.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Got that. And for business owners listening right now in this episode who feels like you did before, though not techy, you were having struggle on social media as well, maybe intimidated as well in social media and the online systems, what's that one piece of advice you'd give them about finding the right support?
Okay, so, I don't know how many other people are out there like me that really don't like social media. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think the thing is that if that is a necessity, and as we've been told, that's how we're going to expand our business and what our names out there, whatever, that we have to use social media as much and more so to particularly like that part. But having said that, I think for people who um, are really wanting, those new business owners that are really wanting to get their their product, their service, whatever it is that they're wanting to get out there, get yourself a VA quickly because then you can put your time, your passion into your business, that part of your business that is what it is for you. And you're not going to be distracted or not only distracted, but get bogged down
Mhm.
by the stuff that you hate because it then doesn't allow you to be the best of who you are in your business of, what you're trying to achieve. Does that make sense?
Yes, it actually it's comforting to know that you felt that way because back then I was like, am I stressing Jane out? With so
Oh,
many things that I'm
well,
asking.
probably plenty of times you were, let me tell you. But I think the thing is, it was just the constant, okay, let's just go through this again and go through it. And look, and as I say, that's what I've learned, the fundamentals,
Mm.
just those basics and those fundamentals. And then just being able to go, okay, I know how to do that, but do I need to learn anything more? No, I don't. I don't need to spend time. That's Warren's job. Um, and stop micromanaging yourself and anyone else. That's the hard bit. But when you're starting up your own business, and I don't think it really matters what business it is. You've got a passion, you've got a drive, you've got a
Mm.
vision. And if you try to do too much all on your own,
Mm.
um, you know, it takes away that energy and that excitement and that passion pretty damn quickly.
Mm.
And then your business suffers because you're not actually giving yourself the time and the energy to do what, as I say, what you love. You're doing the stuff that you don't love or you don't know.
Mm.
And there's only so much time to learn, right? And I also think, that some people will just find it hard to hand over certain parts. But once you've done it, once you've found yourself, the person who you connect with, and who connects with you and sees your vision and sees how their skills and their abilities go, oh, when I'm thinking about having conversations with you and your face light up and then you send me an email and go, oh, Jayne, I said this thought, had this brainwave and, or, this came to me or this epiphany or whatever. And,
Mhm.
and that for me is, it's not like just having someone on, the other side of the country or in another country in our case, that, is just there doing their job and getting paid for it. I know that you guys think and you feel and
Yes.
you give everything that you've got into that business. And I'm sure you do that with every single business that you work with. And that could be as diverse as the world is, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I agree with that, Jane. Actually, it's a two-way street. Like I said, we only can support just enough for the business. And if we also find that the client is also very hands-on and very into his or her business, that actually helps us a lot as well as VAs. And
Mm.
that, I would say, synergy between the VA and the client working together towards an end, towards a goal, that's actually what's make this whole journey worthwhile, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Now, I guess I'll dive into the your world, as a therapist, and tell us
Mm-hmm.
about, because I know this will be shared with a lot of online groups, not only on the VE world but also on those business side, like business owners, those who are starting up, those are already established. So rest assured, this will be. I'll try my best to have it promoted and kind of reach out a lot of people. That's my very goal for these episodes. So tell us about your RTT, or the Rapid Transformational Therapy, and the hypnotherapy for someone who has never heard of it. And especially here in the Philippines, Jane, it's not very popular, and I know some countries as well, not yet. How does it actually help someone work through the trauma or narcissistic abuse recovery?
Okay, so basically, well, with the rapid transformational therapy, you really actually just having someone to like, it's like hypnotherapy, but there's conversation going on. So, a lot of people have that vision in their mind of, Hollywood, whatever. And, or, the people that, you turn people into dogs or make them think they're a duck or whatever, whatever. But this certainly is not the case. And it's really about getting to know. So for me, I've spent quite a bit of time on a call with someone prior to them making an appointment. So they may have inquired and said, oh, can you help me with X problem? And so then I have what I call a strategy call. And we talk about that. And that's where I'll find out where they're at so I can meet them at that point and what they're wanting. What is it for them? What do they want? And that can be a myriad of things, right? So then do that. But really what they're wanting to do is to work with the subconscious brain because that's where all our trauma, all our memory, everything that's happened to us and how we have felt about it is stored. And quite often with trauma especially, it's locked away and it will come up in other subconscious, it'll come up in other subconscious ways and that can be triggered by a song, a colour, a person's name, a date, whatever, and people don't really understand. And then that, these triggers keep coming up. So the whole idea of the RTT is to take someone back into a relaxed state and finding out where that particular emotion or that feeling gets started. And then we work through that. And then that might be, so someone might go, we've got a specific issue. This is when it started, so they'll remember that. But then what I'll do is I'll pick up what else came out of that. So then that might be another emotion, that might be another feel or another experience. How did that make you feel? And then we work through that. So you're actually finding out what those emotions are, where they're stored, how the body is responding, and more importantly, half the time it's reacting because it's just reacting to think of how it's responded in the past. Okay, so with the RTT and the hypnotherapy and it's similar, but it's really about trying to find a place where your subconscious can actually look at it from a very different perspective and actually see that that's not actually happening now. That's a past memory, and that right in this now moment, where are you at? Are you safe? Are you, what are you feeling at this moment? And you are safe and you are okay and you're not under threat. So it's about reprogramming, retraining the brain. And then I'll bring in the brain spotting sometimes for the same thing. And then with the trauma-informed coaching that I do, I can help people walk through that. So it's a really fantastic set of therapies and tools that I integrate depending on the client. And a lot of it's just gone on how the client is responding to me and to what's happening, of how much that I'm a results-driven person. I want results. So I'm going to stick with that person until they're either done or they're dead. So, I do have I have had some repeating clients, but usually after one, and to most people are ready to that. And they might come back for a top up on something else, or something else comes up, but they're pretty good. So that's all I like.
Interesting. Now,
It is interesting that you're really working with subconscious brain. That's where all of what's happened is stored, and that's what actually runs us. We're consciously thinking, it's a sunny day and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Yes, and we'll do that. But how you respond to that thought is going to come from your subconscious. Your subconscious has had an experience where it doesn't like sunny days. It's not actually going to be a fun day for you. So, it's the subconscious that makes the decisions.
Oh, interesting. Now, Jane, is there like a client story, we could keep it anonymous, of course, that shows that kind of transformation people can expect?
Oh, yeah. Actually did a video on this one because this one was actually for a woman who was arachnophobic. Had a massive, massive fear of spiders, like off the charts. And she would have been in her probably late 30s, early 30s. And she rang me and she goes, "Oh my God, can you help me, child?" And she just had a big huntsman spider in her car, absolutely lost it. It was an absolute mess. And I said, yes. I said, look, would you like to have a session today? And she goes, oh, I can't do it to you. She said, because I can't get in the car. She said, even though I know that it's in, because she had someone come in and get rid of it. And she goes, oh, I think I'm just too scared that there's going to be another one. So we ended up doing it on Zoom and did a session with her, and she can't, and that take went right back. She had a memory she didn't never realise it. So we're actually talking about a woman. I just declare on it. It's a woman. It could be the tiniest spider thing. It would be dead. She'd lose it. She told me that she, in her house, that she would have a tin of spray and she would walk around the house with it because she couldn't go to the bathroom to go and have a shower. She couldn't go to her bedroom with this spraying this tin, and if she went out in she would carry a tin in her handbag in case she went somewhere, whether that be a restaurant or to someone else's house, that she might have to carry a spider or so, and it could be that tiny, really simple, super traumatized. So did all this and did the session, and she goes, oh, she goes, so much better. And so then we talked about it, and I said, okay, so how do you feel about spiders? And she said, oh, yeah. You're going to like it. I said, look, just bring yourself to rights, whatever. Anyway, so then she leaves me 2 days later to say that she'd gone away to the weekend. She'd gone away, and then she opened the blind in the morning of this then breakfast that she was staying at. There was not a big spider, but, in the inside spider. She goes, well, I guess you're not hurting me, are you? I'll just open the window and let you out. So she let the spider out. Anyway, months later, she then came back and said that she'd gone to stay at a friend's house, and she woke up in the morning and there was a big huntsman in the corner on the ceiling of the bedroom. And she went, oh, okay, so you've been there all night and you haven't bothered you, so whatever. And she said, I can't believe it. She said, I can't believe it. But what happened was in the RTT, that went back to, she would have been, I think from memory, she was just one, maybe. One, she was in a cot, and she was calling out to her mum and dad, crying. And I said, so why are you crying? And she said, because there's a spider on the side of my cot. And she said, and nobody's coming to save me. And so that just triggered off the whole people on think, but that was what it was. Yeah, when she called out from her mum and dad, just thought that she was being naughty, right? So there was no deliberate, neglect there. They just thought, no, you're just being a naughty girl and you need to go to sleep. So we're not going to come in. I mean, she might have been younger, she might have been about 19, I thought. Just all she could do was cry because she didn't like this spider that was in her cot. And so, that was the whole thing. So she's just had this fear, and then created a whole heap of things. But one session has not got a pair of spiders and hasn't had things.
It's so
So
powerful.
that's powerful. It's
That's
Phobia
powerful.
and so and that memory had been sitting in her subconscious. She never knew that. She never knew it. She said, "Oh." And she, but once she sort of finished our teaching, but no idea where that came from. And she says, oh, do you think that that's true? Do you think that could be true? I said, well, how do you feel? She goes, oh, it's a bit matter if it's true or not. Does it really? If that's how your brain needed to tell you that story of why you've got that phobia, does it matter if it's true? You know what I mean? Like, because the whole point was she shifted it. She shifted it. And so, there were several other times after that, when we met that 9 months on her 7, and then at 25 or something, experiences with spiders. And I was saying that there's a reaction to every time she was confronted with a spider. And of course, a lot of the time, what was interesting was that a lot of the time, if there was anybody there, It would either belittle her and tell her she was a stupid, stop being stupid, or the other person is just as scared as she was. So nothing was ever resolved. So,
Mm-mm.
it's interesting how that sort of unfolded into a lot of other ways that she deals with certain things
Yeah.
outside of this spider phobia. But then several months later, she's come back and she goes, "Oh, I want to tell you about the relationship with this person at work and the relationship with this person at work and how that's changed and whatever." And I go, "Oh, yeah." This is really interesting. It was all about her confidence. It was about lots of things. So, yeah, yeah.
That's so
So
powerful,
that
Jane.
one, yeah, that one phobia, fixing that actually opened up a whole new world. It wasn't just about a phobia of spiders or fear of spiders. It was fear of certain personalities or certain things, and it changed that as well. So, yeah, fascinating.
That's so
Yeah,
powerful, Jay. And I just couldn't, fearful to imagine how can something like that can be what they call this, debilitating
yeah,
for someone.
yeah,
And and then
yeah.
you cannot even, go out. You're always fearful of things and like that. So
Yes, the
being
world, to live
able
your
to,
life to a
Mhm.
spider killing spray tan, it's pretty sad.
Yeah. So
And,
being able to be empowered, like changing all of that, that
yeah,
is so, I would say, freeing for that person.
it's absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely freeing and so self-empowering and whatever that she realizes, and that, it was a fairly lengthy session, and that's the thing that could have sort of kept it very brief and whatever, but she needed that time. I think it went for 2.5 hours or something.
Mhm.
She was pretty exhausted, mind you, so was I, but the result came and she could feel it straight away. And then the next day,
Yeah.
she's just so excited. Actually, I can't even believe I'm the same person. She says it's like, I'm looking back at how I reacted this, I think, what? Is that me? Quite incredible.
True,
I love
true.
that. I love that.
I
Yeah.
love I love that too as well. And now this is my favorite part, Jane, the your animal cards, your oracle cards.
Yes, yes.
Including that nature compass Australia animal cards. And you showed that to me, and I would like also to share that to all our viewers as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And how does that fit alongside the more clinical, hypnotherapy that you are working on when you have a client?
Yeah, so I think the thing is that like anything that's positive information or um, encouraging positive verses or whatever, it's always good to have, isn't it? Like people will, depending on their beliefs, people might read verses from the Bible, people might read angel messages, other people will just read
Mm,
positive messages that have been written by poets or philosophers or whatever. People use tarot, people use poetry. Everybody's different. So the thing that I find is that when, when, when we are feeling perhaps unsure, or we might fall back into a place of feeling unsure about ourselves or what to do or where to go or who we are, whatever. And that can happen with people who have had um, therapy session or whatever. Just need that
mm,
constant, just need that little bit of reminding of how far you've come, really, and a reminder of that. So they're mostly they're all Australian animals, not necessarily any of them are native to Australia, but they do call Australia home. And the idea really is for people to be able to shuffle the cards, pull a card, find what the animal is and whatever, and then that might be something that they can look at. They might go, "Oh my God, I just saw one of those," or "I've got one of those in my garden," or whatever.
mm,
If
mm,
there was in Australia, and so to understand that they were there to bring us reminders to reflect nature. We're all one, we're all part of this one energy. So they're just like any other human that we meet. We meet for a reason. They're there to either mirror something back to us, to show us something, to teach us something, to learn something from us, and
Mhm.
it's all part of it, and feel that the animal kingdom is the same. So for my clients, what the great thing is that we may have done a session or we may not. Some people have never had sessions, have had therapy sessions, but, more gifts. You can shuffle the cards or and you get a little guide book that gives you a full description about it, habits, what they do, what their physical um, strengths or whatever are. And
Yeah.
that gives you a little bit of understanding about the animal itself, because then that helps you to understand why that particular message is relevant to that particular
Yeah.
animal. Yeah.
And these
Yes,
cards, Jane, are there or can they be bought by someone, let's say, coming from the UK, Canada? So it can
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
international.
because it's shipped internationally. I ship them internationally. So, and they've all been hand drawn. This is the dingo.
Mm.
The dingo is all about adaptability, because the dingo over the years has had to adapt, and it does to adapt to different areas of climate of where it lives. So it adapts itself in colour, in its personality, in its diet, and that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And so, and then also the numerologists are the people who are into numbers. Each one has a number, and so you can, often find a pattern. So you can use it as a pattern in numerology. But yeah, anyone can all over the world can get them. They come in a craft box. Everything is environmentally
Yep.
packaged. So that's recycled craft. All the cards are in recycled paper. We send them in recycled, in compostable boxes and bags and all of that sort of stuff. And they're a great gift. And
Mhm.
they're a beautiful, soft, smooth card. So they can give a lot of good messages. And just feeling like that support, it might just give you a lift, an understanding of where you're
Mhm.
at that time that you pull out that one card. Some people can play with my
Mhm.
husband now. You can just, a friend of mine, she's got them in a bowl on her coffee table. She's just got them scattered and she's got them face down. And she'll just walk past and go like that, and she'll just pull apart. What's my message for today? And so she'll just pull out, and then it makes her go, okay. So if she pulled, let's say she pulled the dingo, she would go, okay, adaptability. Where do I need to be more adaptable? Where do I need to show other people how to be more adaptable? What do I need to give myself that ability to be more adaptable to what's going on? So rather than getting upset because something's not working or something hasn't happened, okay, let's just adapt to what's going on right now in this moment. And how does that make me feel? It makes me feel a little bit more relaxed, because now I'm not trying to control it. And I've got that ability
Mhm.
to be adaptable. And I can actually do that if I want to. And how do I feel about that? That makes me feel better. So, these are the things that start to create a thought process. And in
Yeah.
that thought process, and there comes that little bit of awareness. And with that, then the body can calm down, soothe, and feel a lot more relaxed and a lot more at peace in that moment.
Yeah. That's interesting. And here now, where can our listeners, Jane, find you? And what's the best next step for them? For someone who wants to work with you or try your resources like the Oracle or the animal cards, where
Yeah,
can they get it and where they can, yeah, take a booking of your consultations?
yeah. So the best place really is on my website.
Mm-hmm.
So jayrobinson.com.au. So that's JAYNE
Mm-hmm.
robinson.com.au. And they're there, and it gives all up on my website what the therapies that I do. There's a place up the top with the Nature's Compass cards. You can purchase them through there, and as I say, we deliver all over the world. And then there's also a booking page there where you can book a strategy call with
Mm-hmm.
me. But I just said, oh, you've got this issue or this happened or whatever, how do you think you could help? And so, I really like to talk about that because a lot of people don't necessarily know what I do, but I also want to know where they're asking what's going to be the best therapy for them because, not everything is for everybody and certainly not everyone. So I like to, and it's not just talk therapy, talk therapy, just going to counselling and going to therapy and sitting there and talking to somebody doesn't always work. And, you hear stories of people going to a therapist lying on the couch, blah, 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 thinking nothing changes. And that's because, there's no opportunity for change. What I do is help people to find a way to create change, to find a way to look at what that root cause is. And then once that root cause is found, acknowledged, accepted, then it can be let go and then everything changes.
Thank you so much for that, Jane. Now, we're running out of time, Jane, so I need to wrap this up. But thank you so much for all those information, the power of therapy, the oracle, the animal cards. That's really amazing. And
And the
I
course, I
guess,
forgot to
yep.
mention the course, the $9 course that I've got on what is that? Gumroad, is that? Little course that I have, the $9 course.
Yeah.
Working
Mm-mm.
session with therapy and being in the car. And it's great.
Is that also can be found on your website, the $9 stress or trauma course that you have?
I think it's on, I don't think it's on my website yet. I'd have to check. I should have that on there, shouldn't I? But it's been on my Instagram and with my animal card
Yes.
readings. So there's a note there to, and it's just a nice little simple little course, just little workshop thing for people just to go through, make out there, and you get lots of notes on the ability to print stuff off and see where you are and all that. Not expensive, but it's a bit of fun, and it just gets you to start to understand yourself and understand what I do a little bit more as well.
Yeah. And don't you worry, guys. Everything that Jane shared with us, the website, her social media, it will be included in the show notes as well as in the video description of our YouTube podcast show. So, Jane, I'm going to switch a bit. Any final thought you want to leave with our audience, especially the non techie business owners still on the fence about getting support?
Yeah, I would say to you, don't try and do it yourself. That is your first mistake. Have you vision of what you're wanting to create and what you want it to look like, and what results you're going to get, and leave all the techie stuff to the VAs because let me tell you, they're getting it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shane. I really learned a lot from this conversation, and I hope our audience too. So, like I said, this is a very special episode for us. I really would like to thank Jean for giving her time with us today. And till our next show, the next episode of the Untold VA Stories. Bye for now. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, Lloyd. Bye.